I think, like, for example, let's use a random example, like in Submachine, there are
That's
there
not
are
a
com
random example.
in Submachine, there is a puzzle that you know of. Spoilers, by the way, for Submachine 2, 2006. It's called the E equals MC squared puzzle. You have to find E. At some point, you're given M in one of the notes, and at some point, you're given C in the notes as well. And I guess you're never actually told that you have to use the equation E equals MC squared, but you do see a reference to Einstein in one of the notes. And you have an M and a C, and at some point, you come across a combo lock
I see where you're going with
that
this.
just says E.
Yeah.
And M and C always change. C is always 2 or 3, and M is some sort of 3-digit number. Those numbers are randomized, so you are forced to check the necessary numbers needed for that code every single gameplay, as opposed to just the numbers being the same every single time,
Right.
and then just memorizing what that is, so every time you play the game, you could do the exact same numbers. First of all, without the context of speedrunning, I think that's just good game design, because if you think about it, there's no reason why you should know anything about the game world before you experience it for the first time, like if you are assuming the role of the player, you know?
Citation needed.
I can't cite nothing.
Okay.
I can't cite nothing. Yeah.
All right. I'm saying even if it was a fixed value, every time you play the game, it was the same value. Like your first time, you wouldn't know what the value is, so it doesn't matter whether or not it's random or it isn't. You know?
Okay, yes, that's true, but what I'm saying is more broadly, um, I think that there should be an understanding that every time you play the game for real, it's as if, like, the character you're assuming is playing it for the first time, because there's no, like, in-world reason,
Yeah,
in-game
but
world
your second playthrough, you know the layout of the game. So why is
Yes,
this
but the point
one
okay,
puzzle?
but because the point is to try to minimize it as much as humanly possible. Like, currently, we don't have a way to wipe your brain every time you start up the game, which would be ideal. And honestly,
Right.
I'd probably really like that for some games. Gosh,
Okay.
Witness especially. Jeez. The point is to try to make it as realistic to what you would expect a player in the game world to actually think and feel. That is the point.
For you.
For most people, I mean, sure, okay. There's nothing saying that you can't do it differently, but I think it's reasonable to assume that the developers want to try to create a world that is as realistic in this sense as possible. So that's all without speedrunning. And then with speedrunning, I would argue that this sort of thing should be kept and preserved, because I don't necessarily think it's cheating to be like, "Oh, yeah, I already know the passcode, so I don't have to, like, bother to look it up," or I already know, like, the combination of the symbols, so I don't have to go find the symbols and, like, put them together and whatever. Um, I just think it should be
Yeah, I
preserved
lied.
for speedrunning, and I think that if there are games that have fixed combinations or, like, specific ways of solving puzzles that could be randomized, then they should be randomized just to piss off speedrunners. Well, not just to piss off speedrunners, but
Oh, we're synthesizing a point here. I just want to, before we go further, I just want to say, I think Submachine and games like Submachine are probably the worst things to discuss with me as far as speedrunning is concerned, because I literally don't see the value of speedrunning a game like Submachine.
I personally also share that opinion.
However, a game like Minecraft, hear me out.
Okay.
Minecraft randomly generates a world every time, and speedrunners don't really mind that they have to play a random world every time. You see where I'm headed with this?
Sort of, but that I'm not sure how similar that is, because Minecraft is, like, kinda open world-ish, right?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, this could be my lack of experience with Minecraft.
No,
Talk.
what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, like a game like Submachine has for and other room escape games just in general. Like we could broaden it to room escape games in general. It's like there is, like you always know the general layout once you like play it a few times, because there aren't really that many room escape games that have a completely randomized like puzzle layout or room layout. Like they just don't exist.
Well, what does that have to do with open world
So what that
games?
has to do with like a game like Minecraft, I guess there's sort of the natural expectation that that sort of thing doesn't matter anyway.
Well, I think there is a category for running a specific seed on a specific version of Minecraft, so it's always the same world.
I see.
The point was that Minecraft random seed speedrun is a different world every time, and the player doesn't know anything about the world other than the game mechanics.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And
think that's great. I think that's fun. In fact, I guess I would argue like that's sort of that's closer to what I'm trying to get to with like room escape game speedrunning. Like that philosophy. Like I'm trying to get closer to that because that seems more correct to me. Well, not correct, but just like it takes a lot of the mechanical, like straight mechanical nature of it out and is more like you're not just like doing the mechanics of it, but you're actually like doing the game of it as well.
I don't think point and click games generally are good for speedruns because it's quite literally just clicking on the right spot on the screen most of the time. And randomizing, like with that E equals MC squared puzzle, randomizing the variables in that equation
Mhm.
doesn't really change that much. Like you're just calculating a
Yeah,
number.
you do have to
You have to click
contribute
to the
one more.
screen.
Well, it's not just that, but you also have to contribute a little bit of active brain power to figuring out the solution as well.
Sure. I, here's the
Which
thing.
is which is more in tune with like the entire point of the game world in the first place. It's not like Ninja Warrior, you know, it's not a physical endurance test. It's a brain yard.
Right.
Oh, you never finished The Witness, so I can't talk to you. Oh, this is a really good example I'm thinking of right now.
Oh.
Ooh,
Is it a
ooh.
random is it a puzzle that's randomized? Like the
It
puzzle
is
itself?
not only a puzzle that's randomized, it's a timed puzzle that's randomized.
Okay. That
And
that could make for good speedrun content.
oh my, you have no idea. Yeah, I
Listen,
guess.
the
Well, I guess I
best
don't really have an
speedrun
idea
games.
either, but
I think you weren't watching the stream when I said this, but because I was playing Mario, were you there for the Mario stream like early? I basically said that platformers are pretty much the best, some of the best speedrun games because it's usually all about the actual game mechanics and like traversing the world as like
right. Yes.
optimized as possible. Oh god, apple pie.
But you see, someone could say that the mouse is a game mechanic,
No.
and you traverse the
Well,
word.
it is a game mechanic. However, it is the most boring.
But it is a game mechanic nonetheless.
Well,
You see,
we're arguing whether or not it's a worthless speedrun because it's boring to watch and boring to play.
I see. But
So
that sounds like a personal problem. Look at me. You have me defending Submachine speedrunning.
I don't. You're doing that all
You're
by
doing that
yourself.
all by yourself. Yeah, okay. The quote that I was referring to 2 years ago when this conversation started was something
Wait,
about how,
I vaguely remember this. Okay, go on. What's the
yeah.
quote?
So someone was saying that if you randomize these sorts of puzzles, like they were saying, like if you took a puzzle, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, and I can't, that has like a static combination from game to game, even though it could be a random combination, but for whatever reason, the developer made it static
All right,
because they were bored.
all right, Resident Evil 2 has a bunch of lockers that you can
Yeah.
open that give you
Okay.
items, and you have to
Okay.
find the combinations.
Okay.
All
And
right,
are the combinations randomized, or are they not?
they're not.
They're not. So this person would argue that if you made the combinations randomized, that's making this they said it's like getting in the way of the speed run or something like that. I can't think of the correct phrase.
It,
It's like making the speed run longer than it needs to be, which very clearly shows that the way that they think of speedruns is something that is purely mechanical
uh-huh.
and less having to do with like the quickness of the mental effort that you put into the game. And I think I don't know, maybe there's a game where to me that makes more sense, but I think broadly, like if you've got a combo, you should randomize that combo every single time.
Well, we're talking strictly in the context of speedruns
I think for both, just with and without the context of
or
speedruns.
both. Okay. Well, for speedruns, I would disagree completely.
Why?
Because knowing a different set of numbers, where the puzzle is whether or not you know a set of numbers, doesn't really add anything to the skill necessary to do the speedrun. If we're talking strictly about like a combination thing. But here's the thing, people don't say that about games like Minecraft where the levels are randomized. They only say that about puzzles where the puzzle is if you know a set of numbers or something like that, or like some information that you need to continue the game. That's like that doesn't involve anything regarding the player's skill. It's just like pure knowledge. It really doesn't make for spun. I just made up a
Spun?
new yeah, spun. It
Spun.
doesn't make for a fun speed run, and it doesn't. Yeah, that's speed run fun, by the way.
Yeah, I
Spun.
don't know. I think there's shoot, the words are melting out of my hand.
Do you watch speed runs
I'm
regularly?
trying to slurp them up. No,
Okay, so then
absolutely
you
not.
don't understand.
Okay, well, no, that's a different dimension entirely. Like doing the speed run versus like watching speedruns as a source of entertainment.
Well, do you do speed runs?
I don't partake.
So, so you're talking out of your ass.
Well, I used to do speedruns, so I'm not. It's not completely out of
Of
that.
what?
It's a little partially out of that. Submachine. No, I held the world record for Submachine 10 for like 42 minutes. No, it was longer than that.
Was it on speedrun.com?
It was on speedrun.com. I will say this though.
Uh-huh.
I do recognize, and maybe you were talking about this earlier. Maybe not. Maybe I ignored it. So I'm gonna accept it as if it's my own idea. Yeah, you do the combo lock. You type in the calculator. You type in the calculator. The next time you do it, you type in the calculator. The next time you do it, you type in the calculator. So you can never really get away from, or like for example, you pick up the notes. Like you get the 4 notes together. It's like okay, there's the combination. You just got to pick up the 4 pieces of paper. So like in that sense, you can never really get away from the repetitiveness of that as well. But I think it's more just what I'm arguing for is to try to get as much brain juice flowing as possible every time.
Okay. I don't care if brain juice is being exchanged. I care if it's a fun mechanic, and if it doesn't sound fun, and it
I
isn't.
think I think you need to play the witness all the way through, and then you'll accept my position.
I think you need to torture yourself for several hours, and then you'll get my meaning.